All right, let's get right into it. If your organization has any AI models running in production, I can tell you something with 100% certainty: they are drifting right now. It's this silent, gradual process that can turn your most advanced security tools into some of your biggest hidden vulnerabilities. Today, we're going to break down this critical operational risk and give you a clear, straightforward guide to help you get a handle on it. So here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down exactly what drift is and why, frankly, it's unavoidable. Then we'll dive into the silent but serious security risks it creates. After that, we'll lay out a proactive 3-layer defense strategy to catch it early. And finally, we'll talk about how to manage the response when, and I mean when, not if, you detect it.
You know, this is the perfect way to think about it. An AI model, it's really just a snapshot in time. It's a map, and it's super accurate to the day it's made. But the world it's trying to navigate, your network, your users' behavior, and especially attacker tactics, is always changing. And just like that old paper map, your model gets less and less useful until one day it's actually leading you in the wrong direction, all while you think you're perfectly safe.
Okay, let's be really clear about this up front. Model drift is not a bug. It's not a failure on the part of your data science team. It is a fundamental, baked-in property of any AI system that learns from the past to predict the future. It's an operational reality we have to manage, not some technical problem that can be fixed once and for all. So here's the official definition, but really, just think of it as an inevitable decay process. Your model was trained on a picture of the past, but it has to operate in the present. And the gap between that training world and today's ever-changing reality, well, that gap is drift.
Look, it really boils down to this. This is not an if question. It's a when and how fast question. The only choice you really have is whether you're going to be the organization that monitors and manages it or the one that gets caught completely by surprise down the line.
Now, drift usually shows up in one of two ways, and you gotta know the difference. First, you've got data drift. This is when the world starts to look different to your model. The inputs themselves change. So your fraud model that was trained on credit card transactions suddenly sees a ton of digital wallet payments it's never encountered. Then there's concept drift. This is when the world starts to work differently. The underlying rules have changed. That remote login from an unusual location, that was a massive red flag in 2019. Now, it's just Tuesday. The data might look the same, but what it means has completely changed.
So let's connect the dots here. How does this abstract idea of drift turn into a real, tangible risk for your business? Because this isn't just a data science problem, it's a major security and compliance headache waiting to happen.
This quote absolutely nails it. A drifting model doesn't just quietly stop working. No, it gives you a false sense of security. You think you have a control in place. You think you're protected, but it's silently failing in the background. And that, my friends, is way more dangerous than not having the control at all.
Let's make this concrete. Your threat detection model starts missing brand new attack techniques. Your user authentication system either locks out legitimate customers, creating friction, or worse, lets attackers right in. Your security operations center gets flooded with false alarms from a confused model, and your analysts get so fatigued they start ignoring the real threats. And on the compliance side, that model you had certified as fair and unbiased could slowly become biased as population data shifts, creating a massive legal and reputational risk.
And this right here is the fundamental operational mistake that so many organizations fall into. AI is not your typical software. You can't just set it and forget it. It's a living system that needs constant care, feeding, and monitoring, just like any other piece of critical security infrastructure. So, what do we do about it? How do we fight back? Well, we can't stop drift from happening, but we can build a smart defense to detect it early and respond effectively. And that requires moving from just confirming a problem after the fact to actively predicting it's about to happen. Now, if you take only one thing away from this, let it be this: waiting for your accuracy metrics to drop is a losing game. It is way too slow. By the time accuracy goes down, the damage is already done. Your model has been failing, maybe for days or even weeks, leaving you exposed. We have to be faster than that. So our defense strategy is going to have 3 layers. Yeah, we'll still keep an eye on the bottom line, the performance metrics. But we're going to add 2 much more proactive layers on top that act as our early warning system. We'll monitor the data coming in, and we'll monitor the model's own confidence in its decisions. This one is your secret weapon. Layer 2, Monitoring your data distribution is your true early warning system. By tracking the statistical fingerprint of the data that's flowing into your model, you can spot a change long before it messes up your results. This is the canary in the coal mine.
Layer 1, your classic performance metrics like accuracy and recall, they're still vital. But think of them as lagging indicators. They don't warn you of a problem, they confirm it. When these numbers drop, you know for sure that you've got a real, measurable business impact on your hands.
And then we have layer 3, which is like looking inside the model's head. When a model starts seeing data it doesn't recognize, it gets, well, confused. Its confidence in its own predictions often drops. So, if you see a trend where your model is getting less and less certain, that's a huge red flag that it's in unfamiliar territory and might not be trustworthy. Okay, so detecting drift is half the battle, but an alarm bell is pretty useless if there's no fire department ready to roll. So now let's talk about building a clear, structured response plan that turns those alerts into decisive action. When it's time to retrain, you basically have two options. You can do it on a fixed schedule, say every quarter. That's proactive, but you might waste time and money retraining a model that's working just fine. Or you can do it based on a trigger, only retraining when an alert goes off. That's efficient, but it's reactive. Honestly, the best approach is a hybrid. Do your scheduled retraining as a baseline, but have a plan to hit the emergency trigger if a major drift alert fires. And please, when you do have a new model ready, don't just flip a switch and swap it in. A bad retrain can cause more chaos than a drifted model. The smart move is a canary release. Route just a small piece of your live traffic, maybe 5 or 10% to the new model. Watch it like a hawk. And only when you're sure it's performing better do you roll it out to everybody. This is so important. You have to treat these drift alerts with the same gravity as you would a security incident. That means having a plan. You need to find severity levels. A critical drop in performance, say over 20%, that's an all hands on deck, immediate investigation. A smaller warning, maybe that's a review within the week. This turns panic into a predictable, manageable process. Okay, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. Number 1, model drift is going to happen. It's not a sign of failure, it's a fact of life. 2, it creates very real security, operational, and compliance risks. 3, a 3-layer monitoring strategy is your best defense for getting those crucial early warnings. And remember, data distribution monitoring is your most important leading indicator. Finally, treat these events like you would any other security incident with a formal, thought-out response plan. So I'll leave you with this one question. This is not some hypothetical problem for next year. It's happening inside your systems as we speak. So the only real question is, do you have the plan and the visibility to manage it before it becomes a crisis? Is your response plan ready to go?